Mr. Adebayo, a direct question hoping for a direct answer. Are African governments listening?
I believe they are. Every time the London Stock Exchange Africa Advisory Group met, there was always a representative from local government, which was the first, I think, enabler and the harbinger of the additional interaction. Now, of course, not every single recommendation that's put forward or proposed can necessarily be undertaken, but what we expect to happen as we go forward and embark on this engagement strategy is that every single recommendation will be given due consideration by the governments, and I believe that will happen.
There's a lost value proposition when you look at the continent. We, as you were telling me earlier, we only have an emerging markets from South Africa and, of course, Egypt, and we have several frontier markets in the West and in the East as well, but the bulk of African economies have unlisted markets. What is the value proposition that is lost through this time before we actually get our story together?
Well, you asked the question, and I'll give you a straight answer as well. There is currently $4.9 trillion worth of exchange-traded product capital that is currently invested into 5,000 exchange-traded products over 70 different stock exchanges. Currently, there is an inability for Africa to access that capital because of the classification of markets. And as you've mentioned, the categories are developed, emerging, frontier, and unclassified. In Africa, there are no developed markets under that current classification. Only Egypt and South Africa are the two what we call emerging markets in Africa. Then there's a small amount of frontier markets, countries, and the rest are unclassified. So the opportunity cost here is at the very least $4.9 trillion in our opinion.
And there's also another opportunity cost here. We're in the middle of trade wars that see countries, if you will, look out for themselves first before looking out for the rest of the global economy. And that is more nuanced within the developed, markets. Is there another opportunity that is being missed here by African economies to take advantage of that? And what would the role of an improved outlook in terms of capital markets in Africa provide? I'm assuming that would be an entryway for a lot of capital to actually migrate from the developed world, yes?
Absolutely, I think that's absolutely right. And the measures that need to be undertaken are not measures that are unfamiliar to policymakers now. It's just about the structure to be able to get there. And ultimately, the countries that are prepared to look at, for example, local market regulations, are able to look at the development of universal clearing and settlement and custody structures. They will ultimately be the winners because there will be comfort from international investors to invest in environments that they're number one, comfortable with, and number two, where the risk has been mitigated.